my name is Mel Van Dusen, and I'm standing near the corner of Stevens Creek and De Anza Boulevard here in downtown Cupertino in what many people think is the center and origin of the high-tech revolution. As you can see, gas prices this first day of April 2006 are pretty high. We have a gas station here, and across the street is a building that would probably make Frank Lloyd Wright weep. On the corner opposite that is yet another gas station, and across the street from me is a pile of condos, somewhat expensive, and a high-rise hotel, and sandwiched between them is what was formerly the world headquarters for Apple Computer. And down the street here, a 1,200 square foot tract home will cost you about $1 million. You know, it hasn't always been this way, obviously. For 8,000 years, the Ohlone Indians lived here, and they felt that the earth, the land, was their mother, and that their responsibility was to their mother. And they felt that if you really listened and could actually hear and were still enough, you could hear the wisdom that that mother had to teach. Well, today we're going to visit one of the last Ohlone Indians living in this area. We're going to be talking with Anne-Marie Sayers, who's living in Indian Canyon down by Hollister. And she will tell us a bit about the wisdom of the mother, about the wisdom of the land. Please join me while I visit Anne-Marie Sayers. Well, this is the entrance to Indian Canyon. It sure is quiet here. Anyway, Anne-Marie has asked me to leave all my burdens in an imaginary burden basket. So let me do that right now. Let's see. There's that burden, and that one, and that one. Yeah, I've got 3 main burdens. And now I've got to conjure up the burden basket. Just a moment. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to put my imaginary burdens, no, my real burdens, in the imaginary burden basket right now. Okay. Done. I'm free. Okay, I'm going to go down that road, and in just a few moments we'll meet Anne-Marie Sayers. I'll see you there. Anne-Marie likes donuts. She also likes turtles, which we'll learn more about later. So I brought her a dozen donuts in a turtle-shaped covered dish. She'll love it. Come on, Cheyenne. Come on. Anne-Marie!
Hello.
Hi. I know you
Hi.
like turtles, and I know
Oh
you
my God! Look at that!
and I know you like donuts.
It's beautiful.
You may have them both.
Oh!
Here you are.
Oh, I love it!
Wonderful.
Oh, that is so great.
May we come in to talk?
Please, come
Okay,
on in.
come on in. Anne-Marie's house is filled with both contemporary and ancient Indian artifacts. In this milieu, reflecting her ancestors' way of life, I asked her about the current state of the earth and about the Indian view toward life and the care of the planet, a caring which goes beyond any individual's lifetime.
If you're going to build a dam, how is that going to affect 7 generations in the future? And all the life that water, the water is the blood of the earth, all the life that it provides for. The wind is the breath. The earth is like our body. The water, the blood, the wind, the air, the breath, and fire, the spirit. I believe all indigenous people globally respect those elements. And when you can be responsible for your actions, how you how your actions are going to be affected 7 generations in the future. It allows us to think and let's take care of our mother because she will get rid of whatever is not taking care of her.
Just as caring for the earth extends beyond any individual's lifetime, the conception of self extends beyond one's body.
You know, it's a beautiful world. It's just the people. And there's more and more and more. And so it becomes somewhat difficult. I believe that there are corporations that think 7 generations in the future today. But yesterday they did not. And we're paying the consequence for that today.
Right.
But as we have a lot of university students that come up and fourth graders when they are studying California Indian history. And they're aware. They're bright. They understand the environment, and they are environmentalists. They do give a damn. They do care. It's like we don't charge when the kids come up, fourth graders, when they're studying California Indian history. But what our fee is, they make a pledge allegiance to the earth. And when you hear these students make their pledges, you realize our mother has another second or two longer to live. We've opened up my great-grandfather's trust allotment to all indigenous people whom are in need of traditional lands for ceremony. So there's a lot of ceremony that takes place here in Indian Canyon. And my mother believed when the ceremonies, the songs, the dances stop, so does the earth. I too believe that. And so I'm really living my dream in the sense of continually watching ceremonies take place. As a matter of fact, on your way up, Mel, you may well have passed a number of people that they're preparing their sites for a 4-day vision quest here. And yesterday there was 2 sweat lodges that took place here in this canyon. And there's a total of 8 sweat lodges. And certainly the canyon is a mile long, so there's a lot of different areas where people go up in the hill for 4 days of praying for a vision. And it's a very traditional ceremony that our ancestors partook in that we are still continuing today. And for me, it is honoring our ancestral way along with prayers for all life. And particularly for one's environment, and the frequency and the energy that connects when this takes place, I feel it. And for me, that's a reason for living.
The DeYoung Museum was opened some time ago, and there were ceremonies by indigenous peoples to mark that event.
Yes, it was really quite special. As a matter of fact, my daughter, Kanyon, sang a grandmother's song there that truly connected the grandmothers, ancestral grandmothers, with the people that there was an excess of 5,000 people waiting in line to get in that connected with our mother and with the grandmothers, the ancestral spirits of the grandmothers. That was very, very beautiful. This is Kanyon Sayers Roods, my daughter of 17 years of age and an amazingly, incredibly beautiful young lady.
Would you like to introduce the dog also?
Oh, this is our dog Cheyenne, who loves Kanyon.
This grandmother's song is Shumash. My Maya Kawana, my Maya Ka, my Maya no, my Maya Ka, my Maya ne, ayo konale, my Maya hey, ayo konale, my Maya Kawana, my Maya Ka, my Maya no, my Maya Ka, my
Father Uniper Sarah came up converting the local indigenous people to be the workforce to build the missions and then to convert them over into Catholicism. And that took place in the latter half of the 1700s. It was after secularization took place in 1834 when the people migrating west that really disrupted what had already been disrupted, where we truly had a time of little choice. And this was in the 1850s, when to say you were Indian was literally suicidal. I have quite a number of local people that have come up here and shared that Anne Marie, my mother thinks we're Mexican. My grandmother says we are Mexican. But my grandmother's sister, my great aunt, said we were Indian right from this mission here at San Juan Bautista. And then explaining that there is good reason why her mother is under that impression and her grandmother. And that is in the 1850s, there was a bounty put on California Native peoples. It was $5 a head, 50 cents a scalp. And so if you have a Native woman that watches her husband get killed, her 2 sons get killed, and she has 1 daughter left, she is going to say you're Mexican for sheer survival. So there are many descendants today that have gone through 3 and 4, maybe 5 and 6 generations of Indian denial. We're in a society that is absent of the sacred. And perhaps money may be considered sacred by the Eurocentric perspective. But when you truly understand the spiritual aspect of sacredness, you know what to hold sacred. And I believe that's all life. It makes it a lot easier. But until you understand that, it's kind of hard to take pop shots at people that don't understand it. And so I give you credit for what you are doing, and it's just sharing another perspective of looking at our society today. There's been a disconnection because you're no longer living on the earth where you've always been from. So that's a tremendous disadvantage. It's hard to say go back to your roots when the roots are not there. They have been severed, and sometimes you don't know where they are. But I believe respecting our mother and truly understanding that she does provide for all and making that connection allows you to take roots where one happens to be. And it may not be on a major intersection, but usually you don't have to go that far before you do have the natural elements that can surround you.
I was surprised.
Yeah, it's really a beautiful song.
We walked to meet 4 people who had come to Indian Canyon for a vision quest, and that means fasting for 4 days.
We have a number of people that participate in ceremony here in Indian Canyon, and they're preparing for a very important ceremony, and that is for their vision quest. Do you mind sharing with us what Indian Canyon, introducing yourself and sharing with us what Indian Canyon means to you?
Well, my name is Alejandro. Excuse me. And I heard about Indian Canyon before, but this is the first time that I come here. And I'm very pleased that you have this place for us to come and pray. And like you mentioned, for us, we came to pick our spots for the vision quest. Our medicine man is Kenny Farmer, and he will be coming later on to guide us and and pray for us and basically will guide us through the 4 days of fasting and prayer. And we do this before the sand dance. So that's why we came here to find a spot for our little one to come up on the hill and do our vision quest.
Juan.
Oh, thank you, Anne Marie. And again, I am honored to be here also and take part in getting fed off this land, this beautiful land. What I have found here is that I find that inner peace, I find that inner happiness, that joy, and I am learning how to not be in pain and not, let go of the burdens of the city and the noise and all that stuff. And I've been coming here for a few years now, and it's really worked for me. And that's what this land is for me, is to be a part of it and learn to let it be a part of me. And with that, it's just it's like every time I step on these grounds, it tells me in my heart that I'm home. And I just, when I find out that we're coming over here for whatever reason, my heart jumps with joy. Just to be here and taste that freedom, that air, and listen to the trees, because again, it's Mother Earth, it's this land, and it'll talk to us if we listen. Uh-huh.
I've known Anne Marie for many, many years. And my first meeting with her, she took me up to the waterfall, and she did a water ceremony. And I think at that moment, that's when I realized what was really missing in my life was my ceremonies again. So it felt like I was coming home. Over the years, I've had so many people that I've met in regards to ceremony. So to me, this has like become a way of life for me. It's not like, going to Sunday church and then the rest of the week you forget. This is an everyday thing. Life in ceremony is an everyday thing the moment you wake up. So I've done ceremonies here for, 10 years now. And my life has been, to me, because of this canyon and the ceremonies, have become a very happy spot and a happy place in my heart. And if it wasn't for this canyon, where we could have our ceremonies, I don't know where other place I would be able to feel comfortable in doing this. So I want to thank Anne Marie for doing that water ceremony and opened up my heart.
Oh. My name is Bobby Maxey, and I'm here thanks to Anne Marie allowing us to be here to pray and continue with the ceremonies in this good way. Anne Marie, you've always been open to us, and I love the way you tell the people that what your mother used to tell you, that the ceremonies have to keep going, because if they don't, that's when the earth ends, the world ends. As long as, I know I'm not saying it the way you said it, but as long as the ceremonies are going on, the world keeps going on too.
Can you tell us what this is?
This is the home site of my mother's, and is where I was born and raised. The house burnt down in the 70s, and now we're putting our Tukumtuk book, which is our roundhouse, our village house.
Right. And this is a plan of what it might look like inside?
This is what it will look like right here. We have the center pole. Because it's not completed, it doesn't stop us from having ceremonies. And so we have had numerous ceremonies honoring Ohlone elders, our traditional California bear dance ceremonies, our storytelling events, and many healing ceremonies, and many different classrooms and trust fund people who have come up.
And how did you get the design for this, the outer shell of it?
This will look like a turtle when it is completed.
And how did you get that idea?
That came through a vision up by the waterfall, and I feel as though it came from my ancestors.
Right.
It was extraordinarily vivid, and I did have an architect do an artist rendition of it, which this is part of. And last Friday I had an architect that is doing the structural engineering.
And what will you do in here?
It will be covered with dirt.
What will you do inside of it?
Ceremonies.
Oh, okay.
It'll be storytelling. There'll be naming ceremonies, puberty ceremonies.
And your mother, I think it was your mother who said when the ceremonies stop, the earth will end. Is that what she said?
When ceremonies and singing and dancing stop, so will the earth.
What does that mean?
When people no longer have a reason to dance and to honor our mother, the earth, there's no reason for being.
There is a small ethnographic museum at Indian Canyon. There you'll find artifacts found at the canyon and used by Anne Marie's ancestors. Indian Canyon is the only federally recognized Indian county along the California coast, from Santa Rosa to Santa Barbara. And Anne Marie and her daughter Kanyon are the last Ohlone Indians living there. Anne Marie has a special affinity for mortars. She feels that now that they are being honored again and talked to, she can feel what her ancestors felt when they used them. Some of these mortars are more than 1,000 years old. We're going to meet Robert White Mountain, a descendant of Sitting Bull. He has come to Indian Canyon for a traditional Indian sweat. We'll learn why a sweat is important to indigenous peoples and how it was introduced to them. And would you explain where you came from exactly and why Indian Canyon is important to you?
Sure. To us, I'm from the Lakota Nation of South Dakota. My father's side, we come from the same family as the Sitting Bull. On my mother's side, and on my father's side, I come from a family that's called Rain in the Face. Right. So that's my lineage, and we come from the Hunkpapa Lakota, where we have the highest suicides in the nation. We have the suicide capital of the nation. It was in Bear Soldier, the community I'm from.
Why is that?
And so, because of everything put together, the economics, depression, we have the highest poverty level than anywhere in the nation. We live in the 5 poorest counties in the nation. We have extreme alcoholism, and now we have that coupled with meth. So we have a high extreme amount of drug and alcohol use. And so then the kids give up. There's no future. They see no future, so then they give up. Well, see, to the Lakota, I just want to explain the sweat. Anne-Marie can explain from her family, but from the Lakota, the women in those days have a purification system within it built in. They have that, they're sacred, and so they have that within themselves. So they don't need a purification. So the sweat lodge to the Lakota people was brought to us by a woman. And her name was White Buffalo Cat.
To help the men.
To help the men.
Because they don't have that internal purification thing.
We don't have that, yeah. So then that was brought to the men thousands and thousands of years ago. And it came with songs and prayers, I go with it to help you cleanse and do the things that you can't. We couldn't do like the women. Right. So that was, and then later on they brought other gifts. She brought, the White Buffalo Cat woman brought other gifts for us to pray with the sweat lodge. And that's what we have today, and it's all complete. So we were like persecuted to the end. We even had presidential executive order to eliminate our people on this land. So the elders went through a lot just to preserve, protect what ceremonies we have. And in 1978, we was finally allowed the freedom to pray this way.
And so to see people who are in need of traditional lands for ceremony and continue the practice of ceremony, I'm living my dream.
Good.
People like Robert White Mountain, they are my hero. And that is honoring our ancestors.